Today, let's start by going all the way back to pre-colonial Mexico, to the times of legend. The chieftain of the Tlaxcala tribe had a beautiful daughter called Princess Iztaccíhuatl or Itzá, who had fallen in love with one of the tribe's great warriors, Popocatépetl or Popo. When Popo asked Itzá's father for her hand in marriage, he asked him to go to war and come back victorious if he wanted to marry his daughter. Popo accepted, and Itzá patiently waited for him while others tried to win her heart. One day, in an attempt to mislead her, one of her other suitors told her that Popo had died, and Itzá, suffocated by the pain, died of a broken heart. When Popo came back and heard the tragic news, he decided to take Itzá to the top of a mountain to build a majestic tomb for her. Consumed by sadness, Popo sat next to his beloved, and froze to death. There, as the young couple were being covered by snow, the gods turned them into volcanoes, thereby immortalizing their love. I am sorry to start this video in a rather unconventional way, but what are we without stories? And sometimes, it's a little refreshing to acknowledge how our ancestors wielded stories from things they did not really understand. And the trait to make up things as per our understanding, even if we know that what we are seeing cannot be true, has been passed on to us from generations. Take for example, this image. What do you see? A mountainous landscape with the sun shining brightly in the sky? Well, what if I told you this isn't the sun? Welcome to Lab 360, it's time to explore. It's early evening in Mexico City. The date, January 24, 2017. Being a popular tourist hub, it is only certain that there are many cameras around the country capturing images of Mexico's national monuments and cultural treasures. And then suddenly, something unexpected appears in the frame. A small white light appears to launch from the top of Popocatépetl Volcano, also known as El Popo. Yes, it's the volcano from the legend. Anyway, if you look closely at the light, you see it flying up little by little until suddenly, boom! It explodes into a giant ball and looks exactly like the sun but moving at a faster speed. And if you think that this is one of the instances that something strange has been seen over Mexico City, then let us show you what a second camera facing El Popo spotted on a different day. These glowing orbs seem to moving without any fixed trajectory, as if changing course as and when required. What are these? And are they anyway related to this? We know that there have been several UFO sightings near volcanoes, and many ufologists believe that UFOs actually hide near active volcanoes as humans don't approach close to them. What's interesting here in that in the year 2021, at least 5 UFO sightings of bright lights flashing over the volcano have spotted and reported. So could it be that this thing here is not from Earth but another world altogether? According to experts at history, it just so happens that a little bit to the right of that camera, over in the distance, there is Puebla International Airport, where aircraft are supposed to turn on their landing lights when they're below 10,000 feet. They use landing lights not only while landing but also while taking off. And when one of the experts did the math, he found out that it all added up. Tracking radar reports and flight schedules from that day, he also found conclusive proof that it's an Airbus 321 that takes off from there, and heads over to Cancun. Well, as they say, truth is always stranger than fiction, until proved otherwise. Moving on, if this is an Airbus 321, which we believe, what about these? Embers? Fireflies? Some sort of drones? The problem is, ambers and fireless don't stay lit for a long period, but these lights are. And add to that, these lights aren't acting like anything we have ever seen. So what could these be? Secret government technology? Technology from the United States adversaries, or technology from an ancient civilization of this world, or maybe another? What do you guys think? Let us know your comments. Now, moving on from something that looked like the sun, to something that is our moon.
The impact crater was at just prior to the subsolar point on the south side, and the floor of it nearly evening, because there is one dark hole. Let's get the right setting here. Just calm down, Bubble.
Did you know that the Apollo 8 was originally intended to be an Earth orbital test of the lunar module? However, completion of the lunar module was behind schedule, and NASA wanted to maintain its launch schedule, with the goal of attempting the first lunar landing in summer 1969. Because of that, and in light of the highly successful Apollo 7 mission, NASA made the audacious decision to send Apollo 8 to the Moon. The mission was a success, and this Apollo 8 view of Earth rising over the limb of the Moon is one of the most iconic photos of the space age. But what many do not know is that something very strange happened during the mission, while the astronauts were on board the spacecraft. Something that even NASA cannot explain even till this day. A strange light, like fire, with smoke coming out of it. On December 21, 1968, the $113 million Saturn V rocket blasts off from the Kennedy Space Center. Within the next 10 minutes, the Apollo 8 reaches beyond the Earth's atmosphere, making it humanity's first mission into deep space. The world is ecstatic, the astronauts keep their calm. But deep down they know that no training could prepare them for the magnificence of watching the Moon from up close. They were making history, the first people to orbit the Moon. The capsule traverses 230,000 miles of space to reach its destination. But then, something strange happens. Apollo 8 loses communication with Earth. A mild panic takes over mission control as scientists desperately try to re-establish contact. Meanwhile, the astronauts orbit the Moon, becoming the first humans to reach such distance from our planet into deep space. The communication blackout remains for 45 minutes, as the world waits in anticipation. Ground control wouldn't know until they re-emerge from the far side of the Moon. But as luck would have it, the spacecraft reappeared with all the crew members, unharmed and undamaged. The mission becomes a resounding success. However, what happened during those 45 minutes becomes a top secret, and is kept in a folder where it lies undiscovered for many years. What did they see on the back side of the Moon? There is a recording device on board the capsule that records everything. NASA transcribes the recordings and seal them in the archives. And this secret would remain undiscovered for several years, had some amateur scientists not discovered the files. Just before heading back to Earth, a strange conversation is being recorded by the recording device. The astronauts see something on the surface of the Moon that doesn't fit any explanation. They see lights. There's something strange down there and it looks like fire, one of the astronauts says. And not just that, apparently, the fire looked like a campfire or a bonfire. Yes, they say these words. It is all transcribed. The sad part is that there is no visual data of what they saw. Over the years, many have tried to explain what Barman and Anders saw, but how do you explain fire without oxygen? It is impossible to have fire on the lunar surface. Some scientists suggested that after reaching the lunar orbit, the Apollo craft, which jettisons at stage 3 rocket booster, could be the reason for the bonfire sighting. There is a little oxygen left in the fuel of a rocket, so maybe the debris crashed against the surface of the Moon, resulting in what the astronauts saw. However, this theory couldn't hold the ground as NASA tracks the path of every separated booster, and the records contradict the theory. And hence, till date, the mystery remains a mystery. So what did the astronauts see? Well, we will have to wait, but looks like the wait time is narrowing down. With the upcoming Artemis manned mission, NASA will land the first woman and first person of color on the Moon, using innovative technologies to explore more of the lunar surface than ever before. They will also collaborate with commercial and international partners and establish the first long-term presence on the Moon. Then, from there we will use what we learn on and around the Moon, to take the next giant leap, sending the first astronauts to Mars. We wait with bated breath, to find more interesting things on the Moon. And maybe, we will finally have an answer to what the astronauts on board the Apollo 8 saw on the surface of the Moon. Here's wishing a NASA all the very best.